Okay, welcome everyone. A motion to close executive session and begin the public meeting. Motion, Vincent, Trustee Corrales, all in favor? Aye, great. Okay, everybody, welcome to Dobbs Ferry Village Hall. The mayor's absent tonight. Yeah, the mayor's absent tonight, is excused, as well as Trustee Golio and Trustee O'Donnell. We'll start the meeting with a pledge of allegiance and a prayer by Trustee Corrales. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to start by dedicating this to women. Today is International Women's Day, and also to all of us here in Dobbs Ferry. We give thanks for places of simplicity and peace. Let us find such a place within ourselves. We give thanks for places of refuge and beauty. Let us find such a place within ourselves. We give thanks for places of nature's truth and freedom, of joy, inspiration, and renewal, places where all creatures may find acceptance and belonging. Let us search for these places in the world, in ourselves, and in others. Let us restore them. Let us strengthen and protect them, and let us create them. May we mend this outer world according to the truth of our inner life, and may our souls be shaped and nourished by nature's eternal wisdom. Amen.
Amen. Great job. Thank you, Trustee Corrales. Okay, we're going to start the meeting off. We have a public hearing tonight. I believe the Rivertown Square developers are here for a change to the parking structure related to the Ipic theater. So,
Trustee Flynn, do you just want to take a quick motion to amend the agenda to add the item where we're accepting the bid for the sale of the boat?
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, as our attorney Darius just said, we will take a motion to amend the agenda to accept the sale of surplus equipment. Accepting the money for the sale of the boat. Is there a motion to, Trustee Casal? All in favor? Great, we'll add that item to the agenda. Okay. Sorry about that.
It should be. There's a green light.
Good evening. My name is Susan Burke. I'm with Sabre Real Estate Advisors, and I'm here to present the site plan changes to the Rivertown Square, which I think you've all seen before.
Thank you. Thanks.
The changes are very minor and have been well received by everybody that's seen them so far.
You know what, Susan, I'm sorry. Let me just, I don't think did I take a motion to?
You can do it now if you
Okay,
want.
let me,
Take a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll take a motion to open the public hearing regarding Rivertown Square. Is there a motion? Trustee Corrales, second. Trustee Rousseau, all in favor? Great, okay, thank you.
Start again.
Start over?
No.
Figure it out.
Okay, so what we did was we originally had parking on top of the theater, and we found that it was better planning to just move it below the theater. So that necessitated a change to the parking deck behind, and we had to change the ramps a little bit. So we were going up, we went down. Pretty simple changes. That's basically just the deck. This is the parking below. The number of parking spaces didn't change. The top of the theater was changed slightly. It's lower and there's no lighting, so it's actually more desirable, it's not gonna stick out so much. The screening is the same, everything is pretty much the same, very little change.
So can you tell us how much lower that theater is now going to be?
About 2 feet, I think.
Parapet for the guardrail was.
Come on over.
Yeah.
How you doing, Rick DeCola from Sabre. The parapet has the guardrail built into it. It was 6 foot tall, that was just removed down to 2 feet.
So it'd be 4
So the
feet.
plan is back to where it was approved on the FEIS.
Mhm.
So it's really back to that. And parking in some of the basement, there's no one can see.
So there was going to be lighting on there, on that level. Now there's not going to be any lighting at all?
No.
Okay.
The RTU screening stays as it was.
And there won't be any signage up there or anything, correct?
There's no need for anyone. Anything else?
You had indicated a previous location of ramp. Does that mean the ramp is moving, or that was just a prior there?
The original plan had the ramp at rock slope,
Mhm.
so we moved it internally. So this ramp going down, so when you come into the ground level behind building EG in the back, and you just make a turn down to, you're driving north right here, going into the basement of the city. The ramp on the second level, you would drive in and just come up immediately to get to the second level, where before you came all the way back to the rock slope. So we brought it over, so we didn't have to go into the rock anymore. So that rock is actually built out a little more than the grading plan.
Okay.
So that ramp is removed because it's no longer there, it's no longer needed on the roof.
Right.
Okay.
Right, I guess that was going to be my question. Like, instead of the ramp, what were you going to replace it with? But you're saying it's just rock that's still,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
Great.
We'll take public comment, there's a public hearing, if anyone has any questions or comments?
Yeah, any comments from the public? No? Okay, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing. Trustee Cassell, trustee Corrales, all in favor? Okay, great. I think we're ready to take some action. Are everybody okay if we? Okay. So I'm going to present the motion to grant a waiver of site plan review for minor amendments at Rivertown, for the Rivertown Square project relating to the Ipic parking as recommended by the planning board. Is there a motion? Trustee Cassell? Trustee Corrales, all in favor?
I just want to talk about,
Sure.
we didn't address it, the waiving of the site plan.
Yep.
Darius, can you just address that a little bit?
Sure, under 352 of the village code, you can either grant site plan approval, actually deny site plan approval, or waive site plan approval. In the past, waivers haven't even had public hearings, and it's sort of been a quick thing that we've done over the last 4 or 5 years on minimal projects, on small changes and revisions to projects. So that's what the planning board recommended that you do. We did think, given that it was Rivertown Square, that it was, we should have a public hearing on it, let the public comment if they have any comments. Seemed like a positive thing for the public and for the project. So while we are proposing, Dwight prepared a resolution to waive site plan, you could actually essentially do either waive or approve. There's not really much difference here, but there is a waiver provision in our code, and Dwight felt it was better to do it that way than, I think either way would work.
Okay.
Yeah. And just the planning board did waive site plan approval, and they actually felt that this plan was actually better than the original plan that was approved.
Right, great. Thank you, good comments. Okay, all in favor? Great, so that passes 4-0. Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Does he need to read
Does
it?
he want to read it?
No.
Okay.
Just the resolution will be available. We would note that they have to comply with all the engineering comments, all of the comments from the landscape engineer, and also all the fire safety requirements from the building department. Those are all pretty standard.
Okay, next, we're gonna I'm going to take a motion to open a public hearing for the purpose of consideration for the adoption of the local law, Chapter 290, Vehicles and Traffic, Municipal Parking Areas for On-Street Meter Parking Zones in the Village of Dobbs Ferry Code. Is there a motion to open the public hearing? Trustee Corrales, Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Okay, Darius, I'm going to ask if you could please just go through this and explain.
Sure. This public hearing has to do with the central business district permits. There were some provisions in the code that didn't match other provisions in the code, were one of the things we were considering needed to be cleaned up. In addition, we've added a few streets to the central business district zone, including Livingston Avenue, Walnut Street, High Street, and we're going to add Draper Lane also to the proposed to the central business district zone. The reason for that is there were people that have come to the meetings that live near, for example, on Livingston Avenue, that used to park on various streets, including Walnut, and now they would have to move their cars at certain times. And we felt that part of that was actually in the central business district and also other sections, including Walnut and High and Draper. This will now allow people that live on those streets to obtain a central business district permit and park in the central business district zone if they get the permit for the year. There will be meters at these spaces. They're not, if you're in the zone, you don't have to pay the meter. If you're not in the zone, you have to pay the meter. So this is essentially expanding the central business district zone to permit parking on certain enumerated streets.
And I think to go with this, we would have to add some blue meters to these areas, so that there would be blue meters added to Livingston and Walnut. And anything else?
Yeah, I think one thing that's important, and there is currently a wait list for the central business district zone. That wait list, I think, is about 40 people. 50 permits, additional permits will be sold for the central business district zone for those 40 people, plus anyone that's currently on Livingston, Walnut, or High Street now that wants a permit. Then we'll evaluate if additional permits are needed, and they will be potentially expanded.
Great. Yeah.
I should also, I think
And
you
Draper
know-
Lane, yeah.
And Draper Lane, yeah.
They were going to be creating, as Annalise said, we're going to be creating more on those specific streets, but also looking at creating more central business district parking down by the old DPW site.
Right.
Because right now, there really aren't enough spaces for, there are enough spaces probably for what's being sold now, but when we add the waiting list people to it, you correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but we're gonna be a little oversold until we get the meters in. Yeah.
Yeah, so the plan is to use the money from the pilot program, the payment in lieu of parking, Chief, right? And to build, I think it's 26 parking spaces down at the old.
It'll be a total of 26 in
26.
the old DPW.
Great. Thank you.
We'll take comments from the public.
Okay, we'll take comments from the public. Sure.
Hello, my name is Martin Frank. I live at 1 Cedar Street, also known as the Village Street, in Building 1, which is right near the corner of Cedar Street and Draper Lane. So actually I was up here 2 weeks ago asking a question about the then discussion on the residential parking. And I understand that these two local laws kind of interact the way it's going to be discussed tonight, the way the residential parking might be amended versus the central business district might be amended. One thing in the law as it's currently written on the residential parking, it specifies Draper Lane, the portion of Draper Lane owned by the Village of Dobbs Ferry. For the proposed amendment to the code for the central business district, are we talking about the same portion or about Draper Lane further down?
Would be the village-owned portion of Draper Lane.
Okay, do you have can you specify how far down that reaches on Draper Lane? I talked to several people and I'm getting conflicting information on where that point is.
I can't give you the exact number of feet, but basically it surrounds the island when you
Okay.
actually enter.
Okay. My next question, it pertains to the proposed addition of 26 parking spaces to Central Business District at the DPW. So for that, could you please specify, does that refer to locations that are essentially on Cedar Street, or are you planning to generate new spots even on the old DPW site itself within the fence?
Yes, within the fence.
Within-
I
But
see.
it's all within the right of way. It's
It
all
is.
within the village right of way
I see.
on Cedar Street.
Okay. So the 26 would be within the current fence?
Not all.
Is that- Oh, some of them.
Some of them will be, Cedar Street goes down and it's within the right of way is my understanding. So some of them will be, the fence will be moved slightly
Right.
to the south to allow for the spaces to be, but it'll sort of be part of Cedar Street, and you'll see ultimately, I don't think it's fully designed yet.
It's
getting
not.
finalized.
The area where the parallel parking is now will be head-on parking.
Okay. My next question, and I think last one, is regarding a follow-up then to our discussion 2 weeks ago. So again, I live at 100 Cedar, which currently, as the law is written, neither provides access to central business district parking nor to a residential parking permit. However, for example, in my family, we have 2 cars. We have access to one parking spot within the village green, so we need to park the second car somewhere outside the village green and the public areas. Currently, as the law is written as of today, the nearest spot would be Broadway or beyond, which is quite a distance, especially for people living further down within the village green, within 100 Cedar Street. Now, when I asked the question about the residential parking 2 weeks ago, I think it was Mr. Shabziadeh who said it is being considered to provide access to central business district parking to people who live on 100 Cedar. Is that still being discussed? Is that still part of the current?
You have access today
Yeah,
Today?
This law.
yeah.
in the current law. It's already
The current one, yeah,
included.
Main, Cedar Street, Oak Street, yeah. So you have access to, yeah.
Oh, I was unaware of that.
Yeah.
So,
Get a permit.
sorry,
I would get a permit.
sure.
Yeah, so the full list is Maine, Cedar, Oak, Elm, Chestnut, and what we're adding tonight is Walnut, High Street, Draper, Palisade, Hudson Terrace, and Livingston.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very
Great,
much.
thank you, Mark.
If I may ask a
Sure.
On behalf of some people, I don't know if anybody from Draper Lane is here today. What addresses on Draper Lane would be able to access Central Business District? Anybody on Draper Lane, or only entrances that are within that area around that island?
Is it much different?
Yeah.
Are there residents?
Is it any resident eligible, but the parking is only the village-owned portion?
Correct.
Yeah.
Parking is only in the village-owned portion, but people that live on Draper Lane are eligible.
I see. Thank you.
Obviously, they can only park in the village-owned dedicated street.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Any comments? Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Board of Trustees, Frederick Turner. I represent Thomas Thurston, 70 Livingston Avenue. Also a resident who is impacted by the new residential parking district. And as sort of an anomaly, Mr. Thurston doesn't have a driveway. And we're here to ask that these amendments try to accommodate what is, I think, a fairly unique situation. Now, as I understand the public notice, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is more than expanding the central business district this evening. It'll also be changing the eligibility, as I understand it, for the residential zone.
There's 2 public hearings, this is the first one.
This is the first, yeah.
Okay.
The first one is dealing with central business district, the second one is the residential parking.
Okay, all right. I'll reserve my comments, I think, to the.
You don't have an objection to expanding the central business district?
Not at all.
Okay.
Great. Anybody else? Any comments? No? Okay, close the public. Okay, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing related to residential central parking district. Is there a motion? trustee Corrales, trustee Cassell.
Hey.
All in favor? Okay, great. Okay, should we take a motion?
Yeah,
first?
I take a motion to adopt the local law as proposed and
Okay,
as published.
Okay, great.
Adding Draper Lane.
yeah, I'll read F here, Darius. So I'd like to take a motion to propose, change the local law, 290-27F, residential residential central business district permit. Parking within the prescribed areas of municipal parking areas, with the exception of waterfront parking lot, will be permitted. For holders of a resident central business district permit, permits may be issued by the chief of police on or after February 1st of each year for a period including February 14th of the following year to village residents that reside on Main Street, Cedar Street, Oak Street, Elm Street, Chestnut Street, Walnut Street, High Street, Palisade Street, Hudson Terrace, Livingston Avenue, and Draper Lane. Okay, is there a motion?
And there'll be the same revisions for the non-resident central business district also.
Oh, okay, so we could cover both guys?
Yeah, they're both
Okay,
the same.
great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cover that in one.
great, okay. Okay, is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo. Second, trustee Corrales, all in favor? Great, so that passes 4-0. All right, Darius, now, there we go.
That was a good one.
Now, okay, so first I'll take a motion to open the public hearing related to residential parking district for Chapter 290 Vehicles and Traffic for residential parking to the Village Code of Dobbs Ferry. Is there a motion to open the public hearing? Trustee Rosillo, second trustee Corrales, all in favor? Okay. All right, Darius, I'll turn this over to you, please.
I got you. Little quick history. As you know, the village applied to the state to create a residential parking zone within the village, given the fact that some of the residents that live on some of the streets on Palisades, Walnut, Oak, some of the other ones, were having trouble finding parking spaces because people from out of town and within the town were parking on those streets because there was no parking regulations and going to the train and leaving their car there all day, and residents couldn't find parking. We petitioned the state, the village did, for certain streets, including Broadway, including Livingston Avenue, including a number of streets. The state came back, passed what's called responded to our home rule request, and it's allowing us as a village to create this local residential parking zone. We can't do that without the state granting us that authority. The board did that probably 2 months ago, I think. And it was having some positive effects on certain neighborhoods and also negative effects on a few other neighborhoods, including the 191 Broadway. We've looked at the law, we've spoken to NICOM and other groups about the interpretation of the law, and essentially we feel that it's proper to add certain language to the code to expand the residential parking, who's eligible to get a permit under the residential parking zone. It doesn't expand the residential parking zone because we cannot do that. So what the board proposed was to add properties, the eligible residents, or properties with frontage on any of the above streets that are in the residential parking zone and who are not eligible for a central business district permit are also deemed eligible for a residential parking permit. We've interpreted that to include the 191 Broadway property. There may be a few other properties that may be eligible for that permit, so I think that satisfies some of the residents that are here tonight. That's what is being proposed, that's what you can consider tonight to pass. I know there were some comments. I think Mr. Turner wanted to comment on this. We received an email from him today, which I forwarded to Liz to forward to you, or I think I actually forwarded it to everybody. So that's sort of the broad strokes of where we are and where we're going. It does relieve, some of these times when you pass a law, the unintended consequences are that one building got boxed out and really had nowhere to park. This remedies that situation with expanding the central business district and amending this portion of the code as is proposed. You're creating potential spots for everyone. Obviously, you're not going to get a spot right where you want every time, right in front of your house, right in front of your building. but it creates more parking for the residents only, so you can't have people parking from out of town and walking to the train, and you don't have a place to park anywhere. We know some people gave some anecdotal stories that, obviously their children are hard to get in and out of the car. People work at home. Now you don't have to move it every 6 hours. So it sort of takes that effect. And I probably is a good solution. There may be some other issues some people may have, but, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close.
Great, good. No, Darius, and that's, as you said, right, this was in response, the genesis of this, right, where there was out-of-town folks, or folks from other parts of Dobbs Ferry coming down and parking on some of the streets, down by the train station. It created a problem. We did pass a home rule. Unfortunately, we're on some unanticipated consequences. So public forum and by you guys keeping us aware of the situation, we are proposing some action here to take to help alleviate that situation. So I guess public comment at this point, is that? So if anybody would like to speak from the public?
When does it take effect?
Well, would you like us to vote on it tonight? If it passes, it'll be immediate, so. Sure.
Hi, Jerry Mooney, 191 Broadway. Does this address the potential for commuters and people from out of town to now park on Broadway? And so that they can walk to the train? Is it a separate?
Broadway is a separate issue. Problem is Broadway is a state road.
Yeah.
So that really, we're still gonna end up being squeezed for parking. If people.
If you want to park, we can't change Broadway.
No, I know, but am I correct in saying that?
I don't know the parking problem on those streets. My understanding is that there are a lot of spaces on Oak Street. I don't personally park there during the day, so I don't know. And some of Chestnut and some of the streets, there are parking spaces available.
I don't know, I guess I'm mainly
For
thinking
residents.
about around, on Broadway and Hatch Terrace, that area. But I'm just.
Well, Hatch Terrace, you could also park
Hatch
on
No, I understand
Palisades
that,
and
but
High and,
My question is simply that we're still gonna be dealing with commuters coming and parking on Broadway.
there's nothing we can do about
I
that,
understand.
unfortunately. We tried.
Yeah, we
Hopefully
asked
there's not
the
many.
state,
Well, we'll see, I guess, but thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the state excluded Broadway from our proposed home rule law.
thanks, Jerry. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Frederick Turner, representing Tom Thurston, 70 Livingston Avenue. One of the unintended consequences, and I realize that there were maybe more than one, is that Mr. Thurston doesn't have a driveway, and you may be aware of that, and he was parking in what is now the residential parking district, which is a restricted area. And we ask that as you have made an accommodation for these residents on Broadway, that you make an accommodation for Mr. Thurston, which is a rather singular situation. I just took a stab at some language today that I think would address it. He's now in the central business district parking area. And with that eligibility, I don't know if you were able to distribute this.
I did distribute. Essentially what you're asking for, if I can paraphrase, is that you would like that anyone that's in the central business district and also does not have a driveway to be eligible. The problem with that is that's a Pandora's box, because that'd be almost every property on Main and Cedar Street. Most of them don't have driveways.
Yeah.
Some do, some don't. Cedar Street, I know most of them don't. So that means we are expanding probably to, I don't know, it's 300 and something properties in the downtown. See, your client now can get a central business district permit. And really, there's 11 spots, I think, on Livingston. So he could park there 24/7 for the permit. He also can park on the other streets for up to 4 or 6 hours, depending between 7 and 7. There's no restriction on Saturday or Sunday.
Or in the evening?
Or in the evening after, between 7 p.m. and, actually 7 p.m., he can go for as long as, till 11 a.m. the next day, I think, on certain streets, and 1 o'clock the next day.
Yeah, well, we heard tonight earlier in the first public hearing that there's a large waiting list.
But we are gonna expand that, 50 spots will be open, we think we're gonna have to add some more.
Commercial district, and really don't feel that there'll be such competition for those spaces. it'll make it very problematic.
There won't be
I
that
think
much competition on Livingston.
Yeah, I think if we add 11 spots on Livingston, the situation will actually be better for that residence than it was pre the residential parking law, because currently there's a restriction, I believe, from 9 to 12. So this will actually allow them to park in front of their house, which they couldn't do before all day in one of those 11 spots, if it's available.
And since it's central business district, chances are, most of the central business district being mostly near Cedar and Maine and those areas of the village, chances are those people are not going to be parking down on Livingston.
And Betsy, when will we selling the additional permits tomorrow? Can we do that?
We can do that. I can't guarantee a spot for everybody, but we can.
No, we're never guaranteeing this.
No. If we open it up, no guarantees.
Well, I would ask the board, not close the public hearing then. I didn't realize that there were that many properties affected by this simple.
Oh,
I just
a
took
lot.
stab.
Yeah, we looked at this
Then
upwards and downwards.
it may not be workable, but I would like to keep the public hearing open for the next meeting to try to come up with an accommodation for Mr. Thurston. The fellow has no driveway.
There are a lot of, that's one of the reasons we have the problem on Palisade Street. There are so many properties in our downtown that do not have driveways. Palisade Street is, most of the people down there don't have driveways. A lot of people in the village downtown do not have driveways. So you can't legislate just because you don't, not only that, but there's some places that may have a driveway, parking lot for 1 or 2 apartments, but not all of them. It would be impossible to keep track of who has the parking space, who doesn't. It would be unmanageable.
There's other ways there's many ways to skin the cat. This is just one.
But this is
Okay.
why we extended the central business district.
If driveways aren't the definitive tool to use, I'm sure there's another way to add it. What the state legislation did, of course, was mandate, empower you to create a parking system. Didn't say you had to prohibit parking. It authorized you to create a parking system. And I would petition you, please, to consider as part of that system someone that's seriously impacted by its negative consequences.
I think what you can do, Rick, if you have proposals, you can call me, obviously. I tried to call you today, but it just kept ringing. If you're inclined to pass this tonight, to move this forward at least, if you have proposals, other proposals you want the board to consider, let me know. We can look at the legislation and we'll present it to the board. And you can the board can always consider additional revisions.
I appreciate that. My concern is to do it under this public notice, this public hearing, rather than closing this public hearing and resolving this issue, to do it, all at once.
I mean, I'm assuming what you want to do. I think the board wants to take action on the revisions, is my understanding, but doesn't foreclose other revisions in the future. And a simple notice, and then we can do it at the following meeting. Instead of the March 23rd meeting, it could be the April, whatever it is, 11th or 12th.
Okay.
And
But your client does this, the first law gives him a space,
right across the
a
street.
potential for a space, where he didn't have that.
How many meters will be on Livingston? Do you know?
Will be a total of 11 spaces, will be 11 meters.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just as you had unintended consequences, of course, Mr. Thurston doesn't know how that will work out.
Well, let's see. I mean, you can
Let's
see.
take you on your
Yeah,
invitation
sure.
to come back.
Great.
One of the things that might be useful is to see how that works out first before doing anything else, yeah.
Thank you, Fred. Okay.
Good evening, Laura Howe, 191 Broadway. I just want to say thank you very much for listening to us at 191 Broadway. We really appreciate that you've given us this opportunity to buy permits and be able to have a quality of life living in our building in Dobbs Ferry. So thank you very much. It's something that's not unnoticed, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you also for bringing it to our attention, how it impacted your building. It
And
was
I
helpful.
appreciate the way you brought it to our attention, was very, professional in the way you did it. There's no yelling, screaming, cursing to our faces anyway. So, thank you, and we didn't intend all this to happen, but we've tried to fix it, so.
Yeah, as we said, unforeseen consequences, but that's why we have public hearings, that's why we do this, so that, if there's stuff that we don't know, that we don't hear about, you let us know, and we'll do our best to, we're here for you. That's our job.
Great, thank you. Close? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Again, Martin Frank, 100 Cedar. I would like to ask one more time for clarification. So under the proposed amendment to the residential parking zone, how exactly the language for pertaining to Draper Lane and Cedar Street, or as it currently says, Cedar Street from Main Street to 750 feet west thereof, how that language is going to be changed?
Are you talking about the residential parking lot? Well, that's.
That's the current hearing, right?
Are you looking at the most recent one?
Well, the adopted, I believe.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm
That's removed, that's added to the central business district.
Central, yeah.
Yeah, this is the old one. This is the January. This law does not include the Draper Lane law area. The Draper Lane area was switched to the central business district area.
Just for my information, when exactly did that happen?
That's what's noticed in the paper, whatever, was it last week? I think Friday it was noticed. Here's a copy of it.
So when was that adopted?
It hasn't been adopted, that's what they're
that's my
considering
question.
tonight. So the two, yeah.
If you could briefly clarify the new language.
Sure, the Draper Lane language was included for the central business district now. It's removed from this local law, 29046 subdivision, I think it was subdivision B, which had 750 feet in Draper Lane. So that's removed. And what is in this residential parking zone. And the language is added for properties that are not eligible for central business district permits and front the streets that are within the central business district. So within the residential parking zone, excuse me. So that's, if you the language added is that if you're not in the residential parking zone, but front a street in the residential parking zone and are not eligible for the central business district permit, you're eligible for the residential parking zone. Okay? Did I say that right?
Hi, my name is Michael Morado. I was here at a previous meeting. I'd also like to say thank you for listening to 191 Broadway. I did have a couple of questions about the permits, though. When would they be issued and how exactly they would work? Is it per car, like per registration, per driver, or how's it gonna work?
Yeah, they'll be available tomorrow too. And they are, you have to show proof, there's two. Eligible is mine, we haven't looked, two per house, household. And you must demonstrate proof of where you live to be eligible. License, I think we're requiring a license.
It says license registration.
It's in the proposed law. We have a copy.
Okay, so when can we get them?
Tomorrow,
What, during the hours of,
If,
8 a.m. start? 9 a.m.?
Can you give me till 9? 9 o'clock tomorrow.
I just have to decide.
Put
9
a
o'clock.
clock outside.
But we're still not.
We're still not enforcing.
Yeah, that location is not being enforced, so
Patch.
we'll give you time for it to roll out and let it work.
So it's basically 9 to 3, Monday to Friday, or something like that?
Oh, no.
No, to get the permit? Yeah.
No, just after 9 o'clock. You come in 24 hours a day to get your permit, just after
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
To the police, right? That's the,
We're always there.
yeah.
I gotta get them done.
Just checking, some people have, later
Yeah.
hours. and-
No, if you need to come in the evening,
They go to the
then
police.
come down to the
Right,
police
yeah.
department?
Yeah, at the police department you go, so you don't have to go actually upstairs to Village Hall here. If you go to the front, right at the police, yeah, which is 24/7, so,
All right, thanks so much.
sure. This is,
She thought of something.
191 Broadway. Actually, I saw the signs going up today, and they say, no parking, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But anyway, my question is, how do people with a permit know that they can park there? I mean, there's no sign that says like, no permit parking only or anything like that. Does that matter as long as we live here?
You won't get a ticket?
It's a known thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand your question.
It doesn't say except
no
people,
parking
except those with residential
Yeah.
permits.
But it
No,
doesn't say,
well, you have a permit, you know the law. You know
okay,
the
so
streets,
basically,
you can park there.
if you're a resident here, you should know that you can still park there.
Right on the streets.
Okay.
Yeah, and that might be a good communication though for
Yeah.
the building from 191. I don't know if
Right.
you guys have a tenants,
Yeah.
association, but for new people that move in, to make them aware of it, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're also going to be doing something about visitor permits, but we don't need a public hearing for that, from what I understand. We'll be able to do it by administrative. We're looking into,
We're looking into
Yeah.
allowing you to buy something on a temporary basis for visitors that are in
Okay.
town
Great.
that we could do administratively, but we need to work that out. It won't require a change to the law, but we'll work on that administratively.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, temporary,
to give
visitor
somebody in from out of town.
for probably 2 days is the proposal, if there's additional days that they're here. Don't forget, you can still park on those streets, but
Just have to move it.
Yes,
except you
I
have to
believe
move it, so. But we understand that people may be visiting residents and you would need a temporary permit for maybe a couple days.
Thank you.
Great.
So, Martin Frank, I'm Cedar again. I would like to second that point about awareness and about communication. I did in the past couple of weeks, after attending this meeting 2 weeks ago, talk to several neighbors, people we know on Cedar and on Draper in those particular areas. And not a single of them knew what was going on with the changes and the new signs. I know that maybe for you this may sound surprising because you've been dealing with this for a long time and discussing this for a long time, but the level of awareness is very, very low. So I would highly, highly recommend some more active measures of notification and informing residents. Otherwise, I can see utter chaos.
Are you on the mayor's newsletter list?
Well, I personally am now, but I have recommended people that I know. I told them I highly recommend signing up. But again, this is like, well, it's social networking in a sense. But I think in this particular case, since the changes are reasonably actually severe, it would, I think, be good to directly inform, if there was a way to directly inform our residents in the affected areas.
Right, good, thank you. And at some point, maybe we do consider putting signage up that identifies central district parking, just so folks know the boundaries where it's within. So, but no, good comments, so thank you. Okay, any more comments? No? Okay, so I'll take a motion to close the public hearing. Trustee Corrales, Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Okay, thank you, that's 4. Okay, so I think we are ready to take some action here. So I would like to propose make a proposal to expand who is eligible for the residential parking permits. And I'll just read this here.
Just one quick question. The version that we have in front of us, I don't think distinguishes between the areas that are 6 hours and those that are 4 hours. I'm not sure if that got left off in this
Good catch.
version. So I want to make sure we pass the correct version of the law that doesn't change anything other than what we discussed tonight.
So the,
It's 4 hour parking except for Elman.
4-hour limit, or I think it says or 6 hour. The only changes will be, and we could take a look, the only changes will be that in subsection 29046, subsection B, Draper Lane reference is removed. And under section 29046, subsection C, the sentence added is properties with frontage on any of the above streets and which are not eligible for central business district permits are also deemed eligible residents under this section. All other provisions remain the same.
That's
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
great.
Good.
If you're saying, I'm sorry, I didn't read it in advance, so the section on Cedar Street is not being changed? I think that is going to be in conflict, isn't it going to be in conflict with the new central district provision regarding the 26 parking spots near the Department of Public Works?
Please use the mic.
Sorry. Yes. Again, sorry for my, I didn't read this in advance, but it sounds like from what you said that the section on Cedar Street is not being amended currently, but it sounds like it will then be in direct conflict with the new central business district because those 26 spots on near the Department of Public Works are on Cedar, but also within that, in fact, within the 750 feet from Main Street. If I understand this correctly.
I don't think it would be in conflict. There may be some overlap
Well,
on
right,
Cedar.
so
I'm just trying to look at this.
Cedar Street from Main Street.
So if you reside on any of the streets that are mentioned in the central business district, you get a central business district permit. If you reside on any of the streets in the residential parking zone, you get a residential parking permit. There may be certain locations, Cedar Street from Main Street to Palisade. Do you want to include that?
What the chief just pointed out, there wouldn't be overlap because the central business district only applies to the metered spots, whereas this applies to non-metered spots. And in that section from Main to Palisade on Cedar, there are no meters apparently. So it would apply for residential parking.
Okay, I'm not aware of that change because the current adopted version of the residential parking permit goes to 750 feet away from Main Street, which is not only to Palisade, I believe. That's further down. It's near includes the area near the Department of Public Works, the former.
That's been removed from the residential
Yeah, that's what I
parking
said,
lot.
Draper Lane is removed.
No, it's not Draper Lane, it's Cedar Street.
Cedar Street remains, but it stops.
At
The
Palisade.
residential parking is only where there's no meters. Where there's meters will be central business district. Right?
Thank you.
Betsy?
Mhm.
That's correct.
Does that make sense?
So Darius, I'll read all of item C here, just to
Well,
give us some.
I would, maybe I can propose the motion if you want.
Sure.
Just, a motion to amend, chapter 240, vehicles and traffic, section 29046, residential parking of the village code of the village of Dobbs Ferry, to remove from 29046 subsection B, any reference to Draper Lane, and to add to 29046 sub C, properties with frontage on any of the above streets and which are not eligible for central business district permits are also deemed eligible residents under this section. All other provisions remain the same.
Great. Good. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? So that passes 4-0. You guys are all set. Okay.
Go park your car.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a presentation from Lothrop Associates LLP Architects for an RFP to assess the conditions of the village park structures. So this came about, there's really 3 structures in question here. There's the Embassy Club, there's the Memorial Park Building, and there's the Gould Park Building. So, and Trustee Corrales, you're on the rec committee, so if you would like to add some words to this, but I think really this is the first step of really taking an assessment of what we had and what some of the current and future needs are that could be accommodated with these buildings potentially.
Yeah, this is part of a larger project that's going to be undertaken in the village to really update our recreation facilities, which are, I think everyone will agree, very much in need of refurbishing and maybe, really rethinking how we use the space. And so before we can even know what we've got to work with, we need those properties to be assessed and inspected and determine what structurally they can withstand, especially if there would be any additions to them and any additional weight put on them, whether they can actually accommodate that. So one of the things that's being considered, for example, is putting another floor on the Embassy Community Center. But we would need specialists in those areas to really take a look at that. And that's why we have Lothrop here to present to us what they would do.
Great, thank you. So Lothrop, the floor is all yours.
Just one comment too. Lothrop has been doing work for the village on Rivertown Square. They are structural engineers. It's down in outside the bailiwick, the building department, and our village engineer, pond engineering. So these are specialists that are needed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, Bob Lubalski from Lothrop Associates. I just handed out a copy of what was on the screen so that you can't read it, you have it right in front of you. So, we were asked by Ed Manley to come take a look at the three buildings. And we were there on a very cold day in January. And it was a good tour, so thanks, Ed. He thought it was a good idea for us to come show our wares and give you a little bit of a presentation on building assessments that we've done in the past. And so I've done that. It's a somewhat of a lengthy presentation, so if it gets boring, just move me along and we can get to the tail end of it, which is talking about your three buildings. So Lothrop is 45 strong, and we have 6 partners and a number of registered architects, all the way down to associates and intern architects. And there we are. We're over off exit 8 in White Plains, and been there for about 4 years. Have been in operation for about since 1967. Currently, as mentioned, we're working with the Rivertown Square project to do code analysis. So just thought it made sense to mention that. It's hard to read, so that's why I handed it out. Basically, when we go through building assessments, we're looking at things exactly like you're asking for. Roof assessment, window assessment, door assessment, envelope assessment. Envelope is the walls, the roof, the foundations, all of that. See what the problems are. See what the recommendations might be. And we can come up with rough budgets on how to address the defects. And there are so many that we've done. So I just thought it made sense to show a list of all the projects that we've done building assessments on. Here's one that kind of makes sense. It's applicable to this project. Very old building for Vista. It's a home for autistic children where it's 15,000 square feet. And we had to bring this into code compliance for accessibility and for use as an autistic facility. Things like fire sprinklers, fire alarm, ADA restrooms, things you all know about that we need to bring into these 3 municipal buildings that we're having a look at. Another one is the DPW facility where there's an existing building, but there's also a need for additional space. So we did a couple of site studies looking at reconfiguring not just the building, but the entire site. So as we get further along the presentation and start looking at Woodland Park, for example, where the building is in the toughest shape of all three,
Right.
considering the whole site, is also another alternative. This is another study of that same project, looking at another site where it's a little more compact.
Great, Bob. Hey, Bob, can we, I guess what we're really interested, and this is great
Yeah.
presentation, lead up, but if you want to get right into our specific sites, that'd be great. Thank you.
So, I thought, I want to pause right here, because this one is really close to home. A senior facility, police facility, pavilion in a park in Marin.
Great.
And so you can kind of see what the buildings look like that we were working with, from the very small to the very large, including, the village hall and the DPW facility. I'll just march right along here. So here we are, Embassy Club and Senior Center. So, long ago, one of the ideas that's being discussed is adding a floor on top of the Embassy Club. So we would be looking at it with our structural engineers to see if that's possible. And one of the things that happens when you add a floor to a building, you have to bring the building into compliance. So right now, looking at the restrooms, talking about accessibility to the second floor, an elevator, egress from the second floor, all of those would be part of the study. So it's not just looking at, is the roof leaking, are the windows leaking, is there water getting into the basement? Really looking at the building as a whole to see if it would support an additional story. This bottom image gives you an indication of how some of the stucco is failing. And we will be looking at that in detail. I know part of the RFP is to not do destructive probes. Having worked on many old buildings in the past, there's interesting ways to find out what's behind the walls without using a hammer. So things like taking down a light fixture, taking a receptacle cover off. You gotta get a sense of what's behind the walls. Non-destructive testing is the thing. So we may be able to take off a loose piece of plaster and see what's happening behind that. It's falling off already.
So pretty much you would go from the ground up, giving us a study on the viability of the building itself, as well as any kind of extensions that we wanted to consider, that type of situation, right? I mean, you study the
Exactly, for
building.
each of the three buildings.
Right, so you would give us a detailed study on each building from the ground up.
So you can pass these around. These are examples.
Okay.
Kinds of report that we would do. Exactly what you want, photographs, because it's one thing to write it out in words. If you have a photograph, you point to it and say exactly what the problem is.
Right, so these are sample reports that you would give to us.
Exactly.
Okay.
Great. No. Yeah.
And how much time would it take for you to prepare a report?
So we think we can assess the buildings in a day. If we need to spend more time, we spend more time. We gotta get to the bottom of what we have to get to the bottom of. And then writing the report is a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And if you wanted any budgeting, it's not, I don't think it's included now, the budgeting, but if we wanted budgeting, we could provide you with rough budgets for what it would take to address recommendations.
And then you would come to a meeting like this, and then you would run through the findings, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If it's a draft and we need to tweak it because somebody notices something else or they're wondering, we'll accommodate it and issue a final draft for review. This is
Good.
frozen.
Yeah. Do you guys, so we, do you? Yeah. Do we, hey,
Oh, there we go.
I don't think so.
okay. Yeah, let me ask, hey, Bob, I think we have, so we looked through the presentation, we get the general gist of where we're going with this, with, you know, with all three buildings. Can I just ask, do any trustees have any specific questions relating to the presentation, or?
Are you also going to be looking at what it would take to bring the buildings then into compliance with any regulations that post-date the construction of these?
All, you know, there are a number of codes, the building code of New York State, the energy code,
Yeah,
mechanical, electrical, plumbing code, ANSI, A117,
yeah,
ADA, it's got to run the gamut because at the
okay.
end of the day,
And you'll
whatever
advise
is
us on,
recommended or proposed, it has to be code compliant.
correct.
Because this is like park property, are there any other issues that have to be taken into account? Since this is designated parkland, or not necessarily?
No,
Okay.
the reason I hesitate, if we talk, and that's why I wanted to get to this building.
Mhm.
Very nice old building in sad shape.
Right.
Yeah, this is,
Roof tiles that if you needed to patch them, you would have to have custom made. We worked on a building like this on Westchester Community College's campus. We had to have tiles custom made. So if this building were found to be savable, and the roof was deemed important, we could get roof tiles made. It would just be a budgetary issue.
Right.
If this building is found to be toast.
Right.
And other areas on the site were looked at for replacement buildings, then we get into some of these issues.
yeah, that's one of the reasons I brought that up, yeah.
And so, if you were able to give us a survey, we could look at other areas where a building could be accommodated.
I think
Sure.
we have one.
We
for
have
Park.
one. Yeah, we had looked at an alternate site of a community center, one of the things, so, absolutely.
We have a survey for.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good, Bob, I think we're good. Look, this is something that we've been talking about for a long time. Like Darius said, we actually, I know when I first was trustee, 6 years ago, we talked about a community center at Gould Park utilizing the building. So, we do have a recommendation here from Ed Manley from the building department, who he's worked with before, and he's highly recommended you. So I'll tell you, I think at this point, guys, I'd like to talk about if we take a motion to close the public hearing, and then I think we're ready to take some action here tonight on the order. So does any of the public have any comments relating to the project or questions?
Does Ed have anything to say?
Ed? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're not technically a public hearing, but.
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine, you can take comment. I'm
Okay.
not saying you can't talk, but just.
Yeah, come on, there you go, that's fine.
Andrew, Andrew.
Actually, I have one. Do you carry any exceptions to the survey you do?
Can you give your name and address so we can?
Michael, 87 Main Street.
Michael, you got last name?
You mind?
Got it.
Do you carry any exceptions to the survey you do with regards to materials, structural analysis, any codes you don't research for? You're talking about doing, what is it, 3 buildings we're talking about?
Assessing 3 buildings.
So you're talking about assessing 3 buildings in one day. And given the research that I've done, it takes a lot to assess one building. You do it with a lot of people. I'm just wondering if there's any exceptions. Like, do you avoid looking for hot materials? You did mention stucco, doing non-invasive.
Very good question.
That's a good question, no, good job.
So, if it smells like asbestos, we noted as such that we're not experts, but it looks like it could be this asbestos, and the recommendation would be to hire an expert to examine it more closely. And that means doing sample testing to see if it really is asbestos. And it could be in floor tile, it could be in the plaster. Right? Old plaster in the Gould Park building could be there. If we start seeing furry little fibers in the plaster, we're going to say it might be asbestos, have it tested. So those sorts of exclusions, you know, hazardous materials which we're not licensed to assess or test are excluded. We would be assessing for compliance with the building code of New York State, mechanical, electrical, plumbing codes, energy conservation code, and the accessibility codes, and any other life safety codes that might apply, like NFPA 101, things like that. So, does that answer your question? And we would be there with a number of people who are experienced at looking at things. If I were to do it on my own, I'd be there a week. If we come in with 2 or 3 or 4 people, we think we can do it in a day, but that's not the point. The point is, it would be a lump sum fee to get the job done.
And then,
So there's no limitation on time. It's whatever it takes to make the village happy and do the right job.
and then,
It won't be a glossy, you know, glazed over assessment. We look at things carefully. And, I mean, if you look at the reports, they're pretty.
Sure, yeah, no.
yeah, so
extensive.
what's the estimated time it would take you to get that report together from after doing the day assessment?
2 to 3 calendar weeks.
Okay, thanks.
So if we were to go out there in 2 weeks and perform the test, the site assessment that week, 2 to 3 weeks after that, we would have a draft for presentation. If there were comments, we would go back and incorporate those comments. And then if you so desire, represent the final at the next meeting. If you're happy with just having it emailed, we're okay with that too. And then we could present it in whatever format you want, hard copies, electronic copies.
Okay.
And I think going along with his questions, right now, this is actually a first step in assessing these buildings. There'll be probably more steps after this to do further, if we, what we decide to do, you know, to do further testings and further
So
We'll know
studies,
what we
right?
can or can't
Let's
do, or
can
some
and
of
can't,
the
like what we
limitations.
can or can't do, yeah.
let's say that under the roof tiles on the Gould Park building, there is an old tar paper that could be hot and asbestos. If we can see where some of the roof tiles have slipped or are cracked, and kind of pick at it a little bit and see if it's furry, we might be able to say something. If we can't see it, that would be unforeseen, and that would be left for a later phase. Because non-destructive testing is a requirement here. You don't want us bashing holes in the walls and roofs. So that's the only limitation. If we can see it, or we can kind of pick at it a little bit, lift up and look underneath, we can assess what we can observe. If we can't see it, we'll know when we find it in the next phase.
Good, no, thank you. Great, thank you. Ed? Yeah.
So basically, Bob's company is gonna assess the buildings, it's gonna come back and tell us, okay, roof on building A is shot, you know, the walls are falling down. Things like that, the boiler needs to be replaced, the electrical is either okay or not, things like that. And then you, or a committee that you form,
are going to decide with those guidelines what we want to do with these buildings.
Right.
Do we want to add to them? Do we want to take something down, replace it? At that point, there's going to be phase two with your guidance, what we want to do, what the village's end goal is. Then we'll go out and look again and say, okay, if this roof needs to be replaced, then somebody else is going to go out and say, all right, let's do a little closer examination and give a price for replacing the roof. So this is just a general assessment. There's a lot more to come after that.
Good, yeah, no,
Thank you.
like you said, this is the necessary first step to get the ball rolling. So, great, thank you. I mean, one of the reasons I asked for public comment before courtesy of the floor, you know, I think maybe being it's fresh in everybody's mind, we do have a recommendation by Ed Manley to move forward and award the bid. So I'm going to do that before courtesy of the floor. So Michael, you made some comments. Does anybody else want to make any comments relating to this? No? Okay, so I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to consider a motion to award the bid for the to assess the condition of village park structures to Lothrop Engineering LLP, architects in the amount not to exceed $19,000 as recommended by the building inspector, Ed Manley. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second trustee Corrales, all in favor? It's 4 ayes. Okay, great. So thank you. So this is the first phase. So looking forward to hearing what shape these buildings are in and seeing what we can and can't do. And hopefully it's all good news.
Great. Thank you. And I just wanted to add, in this day of electronic connection, as we're doing our assessment, I'll be keeping Ed up to date, and you know, he can share those initial assessments with you. If there are questions or comments that come up, hey, what about this or what about that? You know, it's a kind of a collaborative process. We don't just go away, you know, wave our hands in the air and then all of a sudden the report ends up on your desk. So if there are issues, or if you want to join us to look at a specific issue, you're welcome to do that too.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, courtesy of the floor. Does anybody have anything they'd like to? Pat, be our first guest.
First, thank you for doing that. I was using that little park facility back in 1995. People told us, don't put a lot of stuff in there because we're going to be tearing the building down next year. Somehow, that hasn't happened yet. Main reason I'm here tonight is that at the February planning board meeting, the planning board unanimously adopted a resolution recommending that the wires in the downtown be placed underground. And so far that hasn't made it onto the agenda, so I'm hoping that this board can get that on its agenda at one of the next meetings.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Donna, did you want to comment on that?
No, the planning board was talking about that. I think there are other villages that have,
Hastings
Hastings, yeah.
succeeded in doing it, many have. And one other quick point, when you're taking a vote, give a little bit of a look to the left. Donna had her hand up the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
You know, motion made, seconded, and then
Yeah,
Donna gets the vote.
it's harder than I took for granted all Hartley does up here, but no, it's not easy.
Thank you, Pat.
This is where you really appreciate our mayor. Great, thank you, Pat. Does anybody have anything else they would like to share? Okay, we'll move on to matters requiring action. Okay, so the second item, right, we already finished the first item, is to discussion of bond, anticipation of note ban to increase the previous authorization by $75,000 for LED lighting at Waterfront Park and $25,000 for surveillance cameras. So, Chief, if I could ask you, please, to explain.
Certainly. Several months ago, somebody came to one of the board meetings, many about the lights at the waterfront. the lights down there are old, and they need a lot of work. And what we found is we were not able to get a lot of the parts for them. Gary was able to get like 14 of 17 up and running. But at this time, the village is going through an LED lighting project throughout the village, and we've spoken to Lumen Lighting and Verdi, and they've agreed to let us jump on a current contract if we wanted to redo the lighting at the waterfront park. So we'd be able to replace all of the lighting at the waterfront park with LED lights, which we all know are much more efficient, and the maintenance on them is next to
Just
nothing.
the zero, yeah.
Right.
Gary?
I guess Gary can put in the list.
Great, thank you, Chief.
Gary, DPW. There's 35 down there that are 250 watt HPSs each. So the savings would be tremendous, and probably a couple year payback on it if you went to the LEDs. So that's 250 watts at 35 lights.
Wow.
The other thing is that we were looking at putting cameras down there. The problem is that runs off of one photo cell that's on the building. And the idea was to have individual photo cells control each individual light. Therefore, if you lose a photo cell, you don't lose the whole parking lot.
Yeah.
Which is the way we have everything else configured in the village as far as street lighting. So our idea was to bring it back and make it, well, it should have been done like that at the beginning, but for some reason it wasn't. So that would be an additional cost of about $5,000 just to reconfigure the inside of the railroad station, which would be bypassing that photo cell. And then they could power all the lights, and then cameras could be mounted on any pole you wanted. So, but the biggest thing on it is the payback would be quick, because you get rid of those 250 wires.
Wow, great.
So, that's about it.
Thank you.
Great. Does anybody have any more questions of this? No. Was this all in the budget? Was this, Jeff, is this budgeted for?
A couple months ago, we came to you and you approved a $750,000 BAN. We hadn't actually issued that yet, so we had these couple of items that came up, and we're just going to ask you to increase that initial authorization, capital project, capital fund. So it's not in the operating budget right now, but it will be in the future as we pay the debt down.
Got it. Good. And like Gary, like you said, I guess the payback with LED lighting is, it's a good investment. Yeah. Great.
And the fact that we'll now be able to put more cameras down there, which
Right.
is good.
Are we
Yes,
voting
these
on
would be
this? or-
additional.
Do we?
Can.
Yeah.
It's just discussion. Okay.
We need a supermajority, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why, sorry.
Okay. All right, so we'll continue
for the
the
next
discussion, at the next board meeting. So thank you. Okay, the next, it looks like the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items are really, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4 items, right, are really have to do with the budget, really a reallocation of funds, I think. Jeff, so if I turn to you to explain these, that'd be great.
Okay. So again, a few months ago, we talked about, coming to you on a more timely, regular basis and talking about, if there's any budget lines that are either getting close or have been overspent, and getting you to approve, reallocating the funds. And that's basically what we're asking for tonight. I don't know if you want me to go through specifically line by line with this, or?
No, we'll vote on each one, but I think in the past, what was happening is at the end, we would do one big true-up, and like you said, with the request for you to keep us up to date, this is really, we're handling it throughout the year versus just one big transfer at year end.
Much more timely and more, transparent, and I think it's good information.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Now, Darius, if I read these off, I mean, consider a motion to approve budget transfers as recommended by the village treasurer. Is that all I need to do, or do I need to get specifically into each line item, like?
I think that's fair. I mean, the treasurer, if I'm reading it correctly, is asking for increase in professional 3,000, but decreasing contractual expenses by 12,000.
Right.
I mean, and also increasing maintenance contracts by 8,000, part-time by 3,000, decreasing computer services by 5,000. These are available. If anyone wants to foil them, to look at them, they're available, but it's essentially making it's updating on what's happening
Right.
pretty much weekly or monthly on the budget issues, so it doesn't all happen at the end. So I don't think you need to go through each one of them, but.
Excuse me, Trustee Flynn, I'll actually be incorporating a copy of the memorandum that each of the department heads submitted regarding their budget transfer requests, as well as including the details of that in the motion. So it will all be in the minutes.
Great.
Okay.
Good,
So
yeah.
you can actually just, motion to approve the budget transfers as recommended by, Jeff Chuda, Gary
Right.
Gardner, et cetera.
Got it. Good, Liz, thank you. And I'll note too, like Darius, like what you read off, it nets zero, right? It's just a rebalancing from one line item to another item within the department.
Can I just clarify one thing on the last, next to last line? Increase the sale of permits, that means we're receiving $60,000 more than what we budgeted?
Correct. As you know, this year, Rimtown Square,
Right.
had a large payment for permits, and that was not in the initial budget. Not that it was unanticipated, didn't know when it was gonna happen, basically. Whether it would happen this budget, next budget. So instead of, handcuffing us and putting a revenue in there that wasn't gonna happen, or potentially wouldn't happen this year, it was not budgeted.
So is this the coincidence that, maybe it's not, maintenance contracts by $60,000, is that something completely different, or?
Actually, the $60,000 was one, it was something that you had approved a year or two ago.
Okay, so just a coincidence.
So
that
it just,
those
when it was
60,000.
paid,
Okay.
is when it happened in this fiscal year, is when it was paid.
Okay, I'm good.
Great, good. Okay, so I'll take a motion to approve the budget transfers as recommended by Village Treasurer Jeff Chuda. Is there a? All right. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? Great, so that passes 4-0. Okay, and item number 4 is consider a motion to approve budget transfers as recommended by the Recreation Superintendent Matarone. Is there a motion? Trustee Cassell, second. Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Okay, so that passes 4-0. And Liz, like you said, these will all be detailed line items available in the minutes, so thank you. So if anybody does want to see.
I've already scanned each of the memorandums incorporated into the draft that I was working on, as well as, cutting and pasting the individual line items into the motion as well. So.
Great, thank you. Okay, number 5, consider a motion to approve budget transfers as recommended by the DPW General Foreman, Gary Gardner. Is there a motion? Trustee Corrales, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor? That passes 4-0. And finally, a consideration, oh, I'm sorry, no, that's it for the budget items, I'm sorry. Okay, great, thank you. And Liz, thank you for publishing the details there. Okay, action item number 6 is to consider a motion to schedule a public workshop to discuss the 2016-2017 tentative village budget on Tuesday, March 29th at 6:30 p.m. So this is a public meeting. The public is welcome to sit in on it. We will not take public comments. But this is a good opportunity for you all to see how the village budgeting process works. So is there a motion to schedule the tentative village budget on Tuesday, March 29th at 6:30 p.m.? Motion, Trustee Corrales, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor? Great, so that's Tuesday, March 29th at 6:30 p.m. at Village Hall here. Okay. 6 and 7 the same thing?
No, we're doing the public hearing on April 12th.
Oh, okay, got it.
On the budget.
Okay, so action item number 7, consider a motion to schedule a public hearing to hear comments on the 2016-2017 tentative village budget on Tuesday, April 12th, 2016 at 7:30 PM at Village Hall. And the public will be allowed to make comments. So if you do want to attend that evening and you have some questions about the budget, that's the time where the public will get the opportunity to make comments. So is there a motion? Trustee Corrales, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor? Great, that passes 4-0. So again, that is public hearing to discuss the 2016-2017 village tentative budget on April 12th at 7:30 PM at Village Hall.
I have that as a regular Board of Trustee meeting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it, so we usually do it. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, action item number 8. Is Mr. Williams here? Oh, great. Okay, great. So action item number 8 is to consider a request from Mr. John Williams of Dobbs Ferry Cub Scout Pack 24 regarding placing geocaches at Waterfront Park. So John, would you please explain? Yeah, that'd be great if you could give us a little.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate how busy you've been. John Williams, resident of Dobbs Ferry and leader of the Cub Scouts for outdoor events in Dobbs Ferry. We would like you to consider placing 3 geocaches at the new Waterfront Park. Geocaching, if you're not familiar with it, it's an increasingly popular recreational type activity. A treasure hunt style, where people look for a container that's hidden in a public place. It's people get the location and the hint by downloading a free application to their smartphone. It's very popular with families. I play this game with my family quite often at weekends, and we think it would be a good thing to put into the Waterfront Park. The typical containers that a geocache looks like, because I'm sure some people are concerned about size and what they look like. This is a typical geocache container, and this is the actual one which we would like to place near the beach entrance under a rock. It's watertight. It has a logbook and a pencil inside and some small trinkets as well. It remains there permanently. It would be attached by a stake or however the Parks Department wishes to secure it properly, and then people would be able to find it. Do you want me to pass it around? Would that be assistance?
Okay.
Sure.
Where would you place it?
We've identified 3 areas throughout the park. One at the entrance.
Spoiling the secret.
Hey, now everybody knows
Now we
where they
know.
are.
Don't listen if you're.
I'm looking at the whole
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, yes.
I'm less concerned about people getting injured looking for them.
Sure, that's a big concern for us as well. I've worked with Michael Rowan. We've walked through all the areas. We actually dismissed several locations that we found because we consider them to be either unsafe or possibly insensitive to park use. And we came up with 3 areas which are very close to the path, no more than 3 meters away from the established path in the park. We consider a very low risk as to where we located the items.
I've done this with my daughter on the aqueduct. It's a lot of fun, and I see, it can draw a lot of people. So maybe, I don't know if maybe you could work with someone just to make sure that the location is okay and that we're fine.
We're working with Matt on the Rubbish Committee. We've met with them twice. They've been very helpful in refining the ideas that we've had and modifying some of the ideas and locations that we've had. So we feel we've pretty much hit 3 very good locations now, which are safe and easy, reasonably easy to locate, but not too easy.
Okay.
Great, good.
And
Thank you, John.
the responsible party for the geocaches will be the Boy Scouts, or?
All materials will be provided by the Cub Scouts or on an ongoing basis. The installation would be by the Parks Department, so all installation issues will be dealt with by them. There is no cost involved to the village.
Mhm.
The further maintenance will be done every year, or possibly more than once a year, the Cub Scouts would check the items, make sure they're sound, make sure their logbooks are not waterlogged, for instance. There's still pencils and items in there that haven't got damaged, and that they actually still exist, that the thing is actually there as well.
Great, good. And Trustee Kraus, this, I think, like John said, he went before the Recreation Committee. I think they recommend moving forward with the project.
Yeah, if Matt wants to come
Sure.
and speak on behalf of the Recreation Commission, that would be great.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, John met with the Recreation Commission twice, and then as John mentioned, he and I did a walkthrough down at the park. John had about maybe 10 places that we were looking at. We did dismiss a bunch of places that we thought were unsafe. The Rec Commission recommended this. We think it's a great idea. A lot of people place these around town without village permission. They're all over the place. John informed us. I was unfamiliar with this as well until John educated us. So they're all over the place. John is doing it the correct way. He's asking permission. And listen, we have a new park. I think it's a great addition to the park. To answer Darius' question, it's not like a race or anything. These will be placed in nobody's going to be running or they're not going to be placed anywhere high or dangerous or near the water. It's just casual under a rock or behind a tree or a bush, wherever we decide, and they're safe. So yeah, the Rec Commission does approve this, as well as I do.
Great.
Great.
Thank you. Okay. Any more questions?
No more questions.
Okay, so I'd like to take a motion to give approval for Mr. John Williams and the Dobbs Ferry Cub Scout Pack 24 to place the geocaches at Waterfront Park. So is there a motion? Trustee Corrales, second. Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? It's 4-0. Good luck, John. So
Have fun.
you
Thank
gotta
you.
teach us how to play, and we're gonna.
Send us a map of where we
Yeah.
are.
I got it down there, I think.
Great.
We have your geocache.
Okay, action item number 9. Okay, this is a consideration for a motion to appoint Mr. Daniel Gardner as motor equipment operator at an annual salary of $74,056 per year, effective February 22nd, 2016. So I think this move is related to Gary, some folks retiring in the department. So if Gary, Chief, or who's ever, yeah, Gary, if you'd like to.
Yeah, actually, Rick Camp, he retired after, I think, almost 41 years of service to DPW, part-time and full-time. And this is just a one-highway position, which was an MEO, took his position as an MEO on sanitation. There was one lateral movement and backfilled his position with a laborer, which is Danny, who met all the qualifications. The job was posted for 2 weeks and followed all the union regulations. And he was the next one up in that position. He had about 11 years of service.
Great.
So it goes by, the rules have it go by seniority, in other
Yeah,
words.
seniority, and he needs a requirements license, in-service training. He does a lot of that with them. He actually just completed a course with Matt for a pool operator. He took that together.
Great.
And the salary is specified by the
Union contract.
Right. Wow, Danny's been working 11 years.
Yeah.
Wow, time flies.
And I
Jeez.
assume you can vouch for his character?
It's a great endorsement.
That was actually the first promotion move up probably in 9 years.
In the department, really? Wow, okay. Great, thank you, Gary.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'd like to consider a motion to appoint Mr. Daniel Gardner as motor equipment operator at an annual salary of $74,056, effective February 22nd, 2016. Is there a motion? Trustee Cassell, second. Trustee Corrales. Questions? All in favor? Great, that passes 4-0. Okay, so now finally we got some we added here, so, yeah. Action item number 10, to consider a motion to close Village Hall on March 10th, 2016, and March 11th, 2016 for records management. So Liz, I think this is an annual event, right, to kind of clear out and out with the old and make room for the new.
That's correct.
Great,
Exactly.
good deal. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second trustee Corrales, all in favor? Great, that passes 4-0. Okay, so added item, yes. 1 second, okay. So, some good news here, added item. We were finally able to find a buyer for the boat that's been hanging out for a while. So I took a motion earlier to amend the agenda. So this is to consider a motion to award the bid for the sale of the surplus equipment to sell a 1994 Zodiac Hurricane H360 to Tactical First Response for an amount of $10,000 as recommended by DPW General Foreman Gary Gardner. Is there a motion? Trustee Cassell, second. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? Great, good job, Gary. So this was long overdue. Okay, I'd like to. I should have made this announcement at the beginning of the meeting, but we're going to schedule a public work session regarding 75 Main Street, the Oceana building, and it's going to be with the developers, with the Board of Trustees, and with the AHRB. So there's been a lot of comment from the public, both folks who are for the project and folks who are not for the project, and there are some concerns. So we do want to have a public work session. I think we're targeting Monday, March 14th. The HRB meeting is that evening at 8 o'clock, so we want to do it before that, the work session at 6:15. The public's welcome to attend. We will not take public comments. So again, this will just be a working session for discussion with the Board of Trustees, the AHRB, and the developers regarding 75 Main Street. So is there a motion? Trustee Cassell, second. Trustee Rosillo. Okay, all in favor?
Just to clarify, the work session will be it has been initiated because the developer has updated proposals to
We think.
discuss
We
with
think,
us. We
yeah.
think,
We don't know.
Yeah.
we're not
We
sure.
haven't seen anything. They have,
Yeah.
a lawyer has been in contact with me, has requested the work session. It's not unusual to have a work session.
So it's at the developer's request.
There may be some revisions to the plans. They're talking about a 3D model of this plan and maybe another plan for the rear building. So there's a potential. We haven't seen anything yet. Nothing's been submitted to us. If it is beforehand, we'll provide it for you. I think one thing we should do is maybe do an email blast notifying of this public work session to the list, just so everyone knows about it. Some people don't watch this, but I'm sure word of mouth will go quickly on this. So we don't have anything yet, but once we do, we will give it to you, and we may not get it till Monday night. So we'll listen to the developer, and if you have questions, you can ask, and maybe a short meeting. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, right, so,
Just ask one question, all the documents related to 75 Main
yeah,
Street.
do you want to come to the microphone? Yeah, if you could. And just state your name too, please, thank you.
Derek McAllister, 102 Broadway. My question is simply, there's a ton of documents, all the documents that the developers have put up on screens. Is that online somewhere that people can look at it and study it? Because they throw that stuff up there and think about parking and all kinds of things and heights, and then the screens change. Doesn't give you much time to really study it. They spent a lot of time putting it together.
It's not online, but it is available here at Village Hall. I know a number of people have already come to look at it, some of the documents.
But you have to work with the documents here.
But some of the
Some of them are-
televised board meetings would have some of the stuff,
Yeah,
right?
to look at, but it's not online right now. It's,
Why don't we put that sort of stuff on?
it could take a few days to do that, full days
Is
to
it really
people
that
to do.
difficult?
We'd probably have to send it out to get scanned.
Well,
Some of it is electronic, some of it is not.
And why isn't that stuff put online, stuff that is electronic?
Well, it's a suggestion. I think we'll talk to the staff and see if they can do it.
Thank you.
What am I gonna tell you? We shouldn't? Obviously not. If we can make it more available, we will, but a number of people have already come and looked at a number of documents. And they spent, if you wanna know the height, there is actually, tomorrow night too, the applicant has appealed the decisions of Ed Manley to the zoning board. There's a first meeting tomorrow to discuss that tomorrow night. There's no decision going to be made tomorrow night about appealing Building Inspector Manley and Cook's decision. So if anyone's interested in listening to that too, that'll be discussed tomorrow. There will be no decision on that tomorrow by the zoning board either.
That would be an 8 p.m. zoning board of appeals meeting here.
Great, so this is a discussion, and like you said, Darius, it may be a short meeting. They may, they may have an alternate plan, they may not, but this is a good chance, I think, to get everybody talking. I think what most people agreed is, we all want to see something happen there. And maybe not in the form it is, some folks do like it in the form it is, but here's a chance for the three parties to get together and discuss in a public work session.
So we've invited the AHRB too. We will invite them, assuming they could come. If not, I think you want their thoughts and and opinions about it, so that's why you are inviting them, obviously, subject to their schedule.
Right. Great, so is there a motion to schedule the public work session on Monday, March 14th at 6:15 at Village Hall? Trustee Cassell, second. Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Great, that passes 4-0. All right, I think that's it for action items, right? Okay, so we have a bunch of minutes to approve here, guys. So, let me go through.
Excuse me, Trustee Flynn, before you start, I just wanted to note that the approval of the minutes of February 23rd will have to be tabled because a quorum of the members present are not present this evening. The other two are okay.
Great, okay. Okay, so the minutes from 2/9, we'll give it a minute here. Didn't find anything first pass. Does anybody have any? No? So motion to adopt the minutes as stated for the meeting February 9th of 2016. Is there a motion? Trustee.
2016, 2009.
2009, 2000. You're right.
February 9th, yeah, 2016. Yeah. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? Great, that passes 4-0. Okay, so the minutes from February 11th, 2016. And this was the public hearing for the 75 Main Street. Okay.
I think there's one last name that needs to be corrected. For the resident at 18 Hilldale Road, it's Frisch, F-R-I-S-C-H, instead of Chris, K-R-I-S-S.
Got it. So that's from in that section 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, got it. Ms. Tracy, F-R-I-S-H?
S-C-H, and she spells her first name with an E-Y as well, just, I happen to know her, so I caught that one.
I'm sorry, Annalisa, the last name is F-R-E-I-S-H?
I'm sorry, the last name is F, as in Frank, R-I-S-C-H.
Great, okay, great. Good catch, thank you. Okay, a motion to adopt the minutes with the changes noted by Trustee Corrales for February 11, 2016. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? Great, that passes 4-0. Okay, so I guess reports. Anybody have anything they want to share? Donna, I'll start with you. Okay, good. That's it? I'm good. Good services, good.
I have some announcements from the Recreation Department. 4 things. First of all, there's a spring egg hunt on Saturday, March 19. It starts at 10 a.m. sharp at Gould Park. It's for kids pre-K through 3rd grade, and kids need to bring baskets to collect the eggs. Also, first day of summer camp registration, it's Saturday, April 2nd. That's from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Embassy Community Center. That'll be for junior, senior, and teen camp. For any specific camp information, you can call 693-0024. Third, we have the Mini Kick soccer program for 3- and 4-year-olds. That starts on Wednesday, April 13th at 12 noon and 1 p.m. Those will be the 2 sessions at Memorial Park. It's a 6-week program for $110. And finally, there's Community Cleanup Day. That's Sunday, May 1st. There will be more details to follow.
Great, thank you. Darius?
Trustee Good, I know our treasurer, Jeff Chuda, has a couple of issues he wants to address. Number one is the initial audit for March. I know this is just trying to be more in compliance with the budgetary issues and the laws and the budget laws, finance laws of the state. So Jeff is going to propose the audit he sent to you for the first week of March, I think it was?
Just the first, on number 1 for March 2016.
So he submitted that to you with indicating the total and that, and he also has this quick presentation on the treasurer's report for December 2015, if that's okay.
Sure, great, thank you.
Okay, so earlier this evening, I met with Trustee Rosillo and Trustee Flynn, and we went through and audited the claims for the audit number 1 of March 2016. Total proposed vouchers to be paid are $173,475.63. And I'm just looking for approval to pay the first voucher of the first audit for March 2016.
Great, so Jeff, like you said, Trustee Rosillo and I both met with Jeff before the meeting today. We went through the invoices. Again, just a second set of eyes with due diligence, and questioned a few invoices, wanted to see proper backup and see exactly what they were for, if they had the proper approvals. And Vincent, I'll speak for myself here, but everything looked great. You had all the right answers. There was nothing out of whack.
Right, so I agree. We did question some vouchers, and we wanted to make sure that the approval process and the requisition process, how it worked, and Jeff explained it all. So, yeah, I'm satisfied.
Great, so do we need to vote on this?
Yes.
Approval? Okay, so I'd like to take a motion then, as a result of the audit approval process by myself and Trustee Rosillo relating to March of 2016, that we give the okay to pay vouchers in the total of $173,475.63. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Cassell, all in favor? Great, Jeff, good job. That passes 4-0, and thank you. No, this is, again, for transparency and to give the board a sense of comfort that you kind of know where the money is going. We appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
And I did provide you with the treasurer's report for December of 2015. This is the same format that we've had for the past several months now. Just see if you have any questions or comments relating to that treasurer's report.
I have no questions. No, I mean, thank you. Very thorough, detailed, as
Thank you.
usual. Thank you for putting together, Jeff. And no, we appreciate this extra level of transparency. So, no
questions?
Great.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Okay, I have 2 last announcements here. So one relates to solarized Dobbs. So in response to a huge demand for home and business solar assessments and the unprecedented number of solar installation contracts already signed, 62 so far, we want to make sure that everyone has time to fully investigate solar for themselves and have access to the Solarized Group discount. So Solarize Dobbs Ferry Hastings campaign is being extended until March 21st. So that's great. So I know they are around in the neighborhood. 62 is great, so good response. So if you are interested, it's extended for another, what's that, another 2.5, 3 weeks or so? So great, you have until March 21st. And coming up, we have the Sleepy Hollow St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 13th, 2016 at 1:30 p.m. So the parade formation will be on Main Street in Tarrytown. So I'd like to put it out there. I'm going to reach out to, I know last year we got in contact with some of the Boy Scouts if they were interested in marching. Chief, I'm going to Coach Moran, a name like that, right, from the football team. I'm going to extend it out and invite to him if some of the players would like to march. But really, if you are part of a group or an organization and you would like to participate, it's a great day. It's good exercise. Not only do you have to march there, but you got to walk all the way back to get your car, so you'll get your cardio in. So it's a great day. So again, that's on March 13th, 2016 at 1:30 p.m. So if any groups are interested, Liz, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but if I ask them to contact Village Hall and speak to you, are you okay with that? Sure. You're the best, Liz. Thank you. Great. Okay, good meeting. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with me tonight. Again, like I said, this is a lot harder than I thought, but it's a lot of fun. So this is what I've been waiting for all night, to close the meeting. So if there's no further business, meeting is adjourned.
Good job.